You're thinking about buying a Land Rover. Maybe you already did. And here's the brutal truth. Some Land Rover models will drain your savings account faster than they drain their coolant. Others will outlast your mortgage, your kids, and quite possibly your patience with anything less capable. These are the 3 worst Land Rovers that will destroy your finances, and the 4 best that actually live up to the legend. Starting with the Freelander one. The Freelander 1 represents Land Rover's most catastrophic engineering decision, a badge promising adventure wrapped around an engine that was wrong for the job from the very first mile. Land Rover chose the 1.8-liter Rover K Series petrol, a unit designed for lightweight city cars, then bolted it into a heavy SUV and hoped for the best. They were wrong. The problem is structural. The K Series block lacks the stiffness to handle the thermal demands of a heavier vehicle. Start the engine, it heats rapidly. The thermostat opens, cold coolant floods the head, and that temperature shock attacks the head gasket. Not occasionally, almost always. The original single-layer gasket proved fatally unsuited to the application and typically fails by 75,000 miles. Fix it for $2,000. Watch it blow again. That is not a prediction. That is the documented repair cycle across 2 decades of Freelander ownership, confirmed by forum records and workshop reports with grim consistency. Land Rover recalled over 21,000 Freelanders for related defects during this era. That is not an isolated quality control lapse. That is a manufacturer who shipped a structural problem and hoped buyers would not compare notes. They did. The 2.0 TD4 diesel Freelander works. The 1.8-liter petrol teaches you an expensive lesson about the difference between a badge and a vehicle. Next, the bill gets bigger. Worst number 2, Range Rover L322, 2003 to 2005. The L322 looked like the greatest Range Rover ever built. In the showroom, that impression held completely. Out of warranty, it became one of the most expensive vehicles on the road to maintain. The first 3 model years used BMW's 4.4-liter M62 TU-B44 V8. That engine sounds prestigious. In this application, it was catastrophic. The timing chain guides wear through around 100,000 miles. Metal shavings circulate through the oil system. The result is catastrophic engine damage requiring a full rebuild or replacement. That bill starts at $8,000. That is one item on the list. The 5-speed ZF automatic transmission could not handle the vehicle's weight and required rebuilds before 80,000 miles. Add $3,000 to $5,000. Air suspension struts fail predictably, costing $6,000 or more to restore properly. Electrical faults multiply with age, each requiring specialist diagnostic time at $200 per hour. One forum owner described it plainly: this vehicle is never uninvolved. RepairPal rated every single L322 model year a 2 out of 5. Not one difficult year, all of them. If you want an L322, start no earlier than 2006, when Ford-era AJ V8 engines replaced the M62. Everything before that date is a decision with documented consequences. The third on this list found a way to fail across multiple systems at once. Worst 3, Discovery 3, 2004 to 2009. The Discovery 3 looked like a breakthrough, and it was. Wider, more refined, more technologically advanced than anything Land Rover had produced before it. The air suspension promised a magic carpet ride. The V8 promised effortless performance. Both became the vehicle's most consistent sources of expense. The air suspension compressor fails with alarming regularity, costing $1,200 to $2,000 to replace. Ride height sensors trigger warning lights that limit the vehicle to 30 miles per hour until resolved. On V8 models, timing chain stretch emerges as early as 60,000 miles, rattling on cold starts before quietly destroying the engine if ignored. Electrical failures and infotainment faults layer on top, documented across virtually every high mileage example. What separates the Discovery 3 from merely expensive luxury SUVs is the pattern of simultaneous failures. Average annual maintenance sits at $719. Then 1 year, multiple systems fail at once, and that number climbs past $3,000 before the invoice reaches you. Smart buyers target the Discovery 4 produced after 2010 with the SDV6 diesel, or walk away from this generation entirely. Now, the list changes direction. The first 3 were a warning. The next 4 are the reason you came here. Best number 1, Defender 300 TDI from 1994 to 2007. The classic Defender with the 300 TDI engine is the vehicle that built Land Rover's reputation, and it is the reason that reputation survived long enough to still mean something. The 2.5-liter direct injection turbo diesel uses a purely mechanical Bosch injection system. No ECU to corrupt, no complex emissions architecture to block, no control module to develop faults. Change the oil, replace the timing belt every 70,000 miles, and this engine runs without interruption. Land Rover specialists and forum veterans consistently report 300 TDI Defenders reaching 250,000 miles without engine rebuilds. Parts availability remains outstanding because the same engine was fitted to the Discovery 1, the Range Rover Classic, and multiple Defender variants across 15 years of production. If something breaks, the part exists. It is affordable, and any competent mechanic can install it without proprietary diagnostic software. Strip one down with basic tools in a field and rebuild it the same day. That is what repairable simplicity looks like when it is not a marketing phrase. Then the market made its own argument. A 1997 NAS Defender 90 sold at auction in January 2025 for $155,000. The original sticker price was $35,825. The 300 TDI Defender did not depreciate. It compounded. Second on the best list takes the same engine and makes it livable. Best number 2, Discovery 1, 300 TDI, 1989 to 1998. The Discovery 1 takes everything that made the classic Defender reliable and places it inside a vehicle you can actually use every day. 7 seats. A distinctive stepped roof design that still reads as purposeful. The same bulletproof 300 TDI engine that 250,000-mile Defenders have already proven does not quit on schedule. No air suspension to fail, no proprietary electronics developing faults, no systems demanding dealer-level diagnostic equipment. The Discovery 1's common issues are well documented and predictable: timing belt at 70,000 miles, occasional gearbox synchromesh wear on high-mileage examples, underbody rust where maintenance was neglected. These are not system failures, they are maintenance items with known costs. Land Rover Monthly and Haggerty both regard the 300 TDI Discovery as one of the strongest long-term purchases in the classic 4x4 market. The fuel economy figures remain strong given the vehicle's weight and genuine off-road capability. The driving experience is not refined by modern standards. It was never trying to be. The Discovery 1 does not fail you because it was never complicated enough to. Smart buyers prioritize 300 TDI examples and budget for a thorough underbody inspection. Rust is the primary enemy at this age. Everything else is manageable. Third on the best list is where modern dependability finally arrived in this lineup. Best number 3, Range Rover Sport L494 from 2013 to 2022. If you want a modern Land Rover that combines genuine luxury with a track record for dependability, the L494 Range Rover Sport is where that search ends. What Car Magazine's annual reliability survey identified both the current and previous generation Range Rover Sport as the dependability standouts among newer Land Rover models. That survey is thousands of owners reporting their actual experience. The L494 kept appearing at the top of a segment where most of its competitors were appearing near the bottom. The 3-liter SD-V6 diesel engine is refined and well matched to the platform. The air suspension carries a substantially better reliability record than Land Rover's earlier attempts at the system. The electronics architecture is meaningfully more robust than the disaster-prone Discovery 3 generation. These are not incremental improvements. They represent Land Rover's engineering finally catching up with what the badge had been promising for years. Owners report significantly fewer multi-system failures than the L322 generation. The used market has priced that confidence in, and used market pricing is the most honest reliability survey in the automotive industry. Smart buyers target 2017 and newer examples with the SD-V6 or P400 petrol engines and a full service history from Land Rover specialists. One Land Rover does all of this better still, and the numbers it posted recently require no further argument. Best 4 New Defender 2020 to present. The New Defender earns the top position on this list, and the data behind that claim is not modest. What Car Magazine's 2025 reliability survey gave it a rating of 96.3%, making it not just the most reliable Land Rover in current production, but the second most reliable 7-seater vehicle of any brand in the entire survey. not Land Rover segment, any brand. Only 14% of owners reported any problems at all. The average repair cost across those owners was zero, for a brand that had sat at the bottom of the What Car magazine reliability rankings just years earlier. That is not an improvement, it is a complete reversal. The new Defender uses a riveted and bonded aluminum architecture that resists corrosion far better than the steel frames that made previous generations expensive to own long term. J.D. Power rated the 2024 Defender 79 out of 100 for quality and reliability, placing it fourth in the mid-size luxury SUV segment. The PV Pro infotainment system receives over-the-air software updates, removing one of the most persistent cost drivers from the ownership equation. Off-road capability is not a compromise. The Defender 110 P400 is currently the clearest answer to the founding Land Rover question: can a vehicle be genuinely capable and genuinely dependable? Land Rover answered that in 2020. The reliability data confirmed it.